lines of code, no syntax to see. It's a world without brackets, no slashes to break. Just feel the groove, no errors to make. Vibe talking, yeah, feel it flow. No coding, just let it show. Vibe talking, let it go.
Oh, I think we're back on screen. Yes, we are. Folks,
there we are.
Here. We are talking to George. Good day to you, man.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. All here, ready to go at a new one.
All right. So first and foremost, we want a disclaimer here. We are training people. We are not here to sell vibe coding or make you do vibe coding or in any way profit from people vibe coding, except for if they want to be trained on it. You don't like it? Great. Tell us about it. Put your comments in, your experiences. We do not care. We're here to educate and provide information on it and help you decide for yourself what you think about vibe coding. Now, George, when did it start? When did vibe start?
So this whole vibe coding concept started, at least documented, with an OpenAI event around February 2nd. And Andrej Karpathy had mentioned that using the ChatGPT environment, you could write code. And all you have to do is give it the thoughts you're trying to come up with, your outcome. Thus, vibe code is born.
And it was born. Interesting. Let me ask you this question, George. Have you ever vibed before?
Oh, yes. Definitely done vibe coding. It's something that makes it very quick for prototype environments. That's one of the ideal situations for it.
You know what? Believe it or not, I did some vibe coding. I didn't compile it. Laura compiled it, but I did some vibe coding. Pretty hilarious. This is going to be a fun thing to talk about. So first and foremost, let's give an idea. What is it? What is vibe coding?
Probably the easiest way for me to show this is to come up here and let me share the screen here that we have. Okay. Can you see the screen?
I'm pulling it up right now, big dog. There it is. It's up now.
So essentially, vibe coding lets me ask for a very simple prompt. Like, I want to vibe code a website and see what you see what you created. I want the site to be simple layout and be a health site. So I'm not writing any code per se.
Nope.
I'm essentially saying what I want the outcome to be and create at least one button that is a chat bot. And by the way, even if you were coding, and I think some of you coders out there, I don't want to offend anybody, but creating a website's one thing. Moving and putting AI on the website, it just steps up your skill set normally. But I'm doing this in a single command set, and it generated this code. And we don't have a lot of time here to go into it, but I'm going to jump over to this.
But first off, George, let me throw you this question. Oh, yeah, you finished that, then I'll ask you some questions.
Oh, okay, I'll just say, it generated this website, and I have a little health bot down here that I could ask questions to, and I would just go from here.
So let's go back now. Go back to your ChatGPT screen.
Okay.
Show us your prompt. What was your prompt?
Oh, the prompt.
Yeah, just show us your prompt.
Okay.
This is your prompt right here. That was your prompt.
Right.
That was it.
Right. That was it.
Okay. What script is it doing? Is it using HTML? Can you tell it what script to do?
You could tell it what scripts to do, and we're going to talk a little more about that in as we move into deeper. But yeah, it would be good to also start to describe what you want the environment to be. Yeah. That maybe you want to use Python, React, or whatever you want to use in the environment. You want to create CSS.
So some people have to realize, but how about when it goes default? Like I think it defaults to HTML, right?
It probably does in terms of that. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be based on whatever environment you're using.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
now you just took that code, cut and pasted it, put it into a compiler, and had it run and created your website that you just showed us.
Right. And so in this environment, everything's happening here. There's no, normally you have something called an integrated development environment. You guys might know of it as VS Code. There are others, but there's an IDE where you write code.
Yep.
This is ChatGPT, and the output, you notice I said in here, I want to be able to look at it myself. ChatGPT gave me all of this and also gave me, in the end, it created the environment.
George is so busy, he gets phone calls during everything.
Yeah.
They all want you, George.
End,
okay.
It gave me a file here. Download the HTML file.
So it is, okay, so yes, I thought so too. So basically, it definitely defaults to HTML. So when you're thinking, you got to talk about the environment. So if you want to code in another environment, you got to prompt that. That's first and foremost.
I want to show you guys something else. So in this environment, I'm completely in an AI environment. This one's OpenAI, ChatGPT 5, all in there, and everything was made in this environment. I have the option. I could pull in an environment and take that code, and I could have pasted it into VS Code.
Yep.
Some people do that. But here's something. I'm going to take a step. We'll jump another step, and then we can even talk more about this.
Yeah, and I want to go back a little bit too, because I want to build some foundational elements.
So there are some people that take the code that I showed up here, the code that was being generated here, and they just cut the code that was being generated here and cut and paste it.
Yep.
Out of the environment.
And that's what Laura and I did. I mean, when I was starting to code some landing pages for our website, I wrote up some content, I vibed, and I cut and pasted code over to her, and then she began to play with it.
So you could that's one way. There's another way now that exists where there's integrated development environments like VS Code that have AI built into them. This is pretty cool. So in this case, I have an environment here. This is called Cursor, but again, I'm not trying to promote a product. This is Cursor.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, exactly. Let's go back and say that again.
Yeah,
we are not product pitchers. And I'm going to make the screen bigger, George. We're not going to be on here, so keep talking. I made the screen a little bit bigger.
This is Cursor. In Cursor, I gave it a command for a little bit more complicated website, but it generated the JavaScript, it generated the CSS files, and it generated my core file that controls the website. And in this website, it's a little bit more stuff happening. This is the website it made.
Oh, cool. This is the website. You like that green color. Why do you like that green color?
Yeah, I don't know. We could change that. And then I also wanted it to do something. So if I click this button, look, it brings me here.
Hey, that's George, that's my website.
That's your
You're
website.
The man.
So
thank you for that.
Let's do something. Change.
So right now, what we're saying is, George, you can either do off of ChatGPT 5, or now he moved to an integrated development environment. And the integrated development environment allowed him to output multiple scripting, come out in multiple script languages, and come out with more complexity in what he could build. And now he's trying to show us a change that he can make on the fly. So did you make the change yet, George? Here comes the changing. So on the right-hand side, if you can see it, the scripting is happening.
It's generating the script.
There it is right now.
So what I did was I took the main button that was on the website, the main button here that jumped to that website, and I told it not to do that. I want to jump it to my website.
Oh, George, no, I don't want you to do that.
So and now I'm going to tell it to run it, and let's see what happens. So now I'm running, and now I click this button, and it jumped to my website.
Mount Tam.
But you see how, I mean, when you start looking at this, you got to say it's pretty
incredible. Yeah. So now let's stop screen for a while. Let's have some conversation.
Yeah, let's talk.
But I'm going to keep your screen up. But now you and I should be able to pop back here, and I'm going to put this here together. So I like it better this way. So the first thing here is prompting. This is if you are a strong prompter, there's some really strong output you can do. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah.
Right? And go ahead.
No, and the prompt engineering rules that you've learned playing with these chatbots for the last year or so, they all apply here.
So basically, very simply put, this is like Dave Mantica's simplism. Instead of putting your natural language into a Word document or an Excel document, all it's doing is taking your natural language prompt and converting it to a scripting language that then you can run on any type of website as long as the scripting language was written appropriately.
Right.
That's all it's doing. And before, wasn't that like a voodoo science? If you really think about this, there's no way I could put anything on the web unless it was like Facebook or LinkedIn or something like that, right?
Right.
It's a voodoo. There's like a wall that you can't get through. The wall's just been blown up. Yes.
I'm going to put out a caution sign though.
No, but before you do the caution sign, I'm going to allow you to poo-poo on this. We talked about that.
Let's all enjoy the fact that
a moment
that many people who had to rely on coders to do everything for you because it was magic. Like you said, it's voodoo.
Magic.
People had these skills to be able to create websites and certainly take those websites and do commerce and bring things like AI, chatbots into your website and all that. You always had this, you sat in a meeting room and you thought up the things you wanted to do, maybe
your requirements. That was like your prompting.
Website.
You're going through your requirements session, right? You might be doing a JAD, joint application development session. You're writing all those requirements down. Then you might break those requirements up into user stories or use cases. Then you're going to have, those use cases pointed out, and then the developers are going to go to work.
And then you call in your programmers, and they go at it.
All right. So
now you can just do that in Vibe.
That's right. Now let's make a pivot. All right. So what we're saying here is that there is a concept of the democratization of coding, that if you understand AI well enough and you understand programming environments and how code is compiled and the different tools you can use, you can build stuff that will be able to showcase on the web. But now, George, what are the issues?
So
there's lots of issues.
Yeah. So one of the key issues that comes in, and you probably maybe saw it, but I was moving very quickly. I said a prompt. It wrote all of this code that I know none of us could really read. It was too much stuff. And then magically the website appeared.
Yeah.
Now, here's part of the catch, and I'm going to show how the catch has revealed itself.
And then once you pop it in, I'm going to add it to stage. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to make it full screen so people can see it.
It's probably really hard for you to read, but a car dealership wants to sell a car.
Yep.
That just wants to sell you a car, not have an artificial intelligence write you the Python script. If you notice down here, this car sold for $1. So
let's take a step back. The dealership wrote Vibe coded in most cases their website for selling this car.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because it's generic scripting.
Yes.
The site was hacked, and then whoever hacked it probably bought their car for $1.
Let's back up a step.
Okay.
We know this happened. You just saw it.
Yep.
David had asked me, what did you type in to get the site to show up with the health insurance? Right? He said, what did you type in? And I typed a line in the health application. And I said, create a website that's green and has a health button on it. Did I say anything about create security on this website? No. Did I say follow any best practices? No. I didn't give it any. I'm going to give it a break at one point, is to say me as the prompt engineer, I did not give it any kind of structures other than build me a website with a button on it that I could do chatting with. So maybe it's shame on me.
So that's the first.
For sending it out.
There's shame on you. But how about this? Even if you gave it some prompting, there is risk. And it's still, you got to trust the large language model to produce the code. and that make sure it's produced in a secure way. But let's show the other one. This is a funny one too.
So, yeah. So in this case, this is a delivery company whose website also was built with artificial intelligence, who also then became vulnerable. And when customers came to their help desk website, it actually swore at them and said things and all kinds of stuff bad about the company.
So what do we got here is whenever you democratize anything, you open it up to a larger portion of people. And there's going to be a group of people that don't agree with that. And since they don't agree with that, there's a good chance that they're going to make your life miserable if you're out there in the public domain doing something they don't agree with, right?
I dropped the share.
Yeah,
so
I'm popping this back. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? And then this is what you open the door to this type of behavior. So
one thing, there are things you could do. I mean, in 14 minutes here, can we do all those things? Probably not. Certainly
but we can
not.
talk to them about it. So I think
but we can talk.
Do.
So here's the thing. I want to throw one thing out there right away. Coding is not programming. That there's where the mistake comes in. We can vibe code, but that doesn't mean George Churchwell is a software engineer, architect, or programmer. It just I can code. Yeah. People that go to learn programming learn coding is only part of what they learn.
Yes.
So just like anything, just if you were going to do prompt engineering and you were going to build a medical bot or a civil engineering bot or a internet router bot, you have to know a little bit about your domain. You have to have some domain expertise or you're going to get hallucinations, right?
Yeah.
So this is programming following security steps and best practices, in continuous improvement.
Then you're following. You got certain architectures. You got basic level of computer science that you have to consider with regard to processors, regard to speed, regard to other systems. And we're not even talking about the whole testing environment. We haven't even talked about how you would test in this vibe coding space. And, that's part of that process that you learn as a programmer working the full structure of the software development lifecycle.
So the key would be for all of you that want to vibe code, I say code, do it. Vibe coding is great. But your prompt that David was talking about, when you go to write your prompt, maybe you need to have another chat GPT, if you want to do this, write you a prompt that creates a secure, high performance website that's running on an S3 AWS server.
Now you're going
all the stuff.
All the stuff. It's just like prompt engineering. If you're going to code, if I'm going to use ChatGPT to coach somebody, I gotta create the person I'm coaching to practice. So I gotta put all that information in there, right? They're this age, they got this mentality, they use these words, this is their skill set. So you're saying, okay, we want to do secure coding methods, but what type of secure coding method do you want to do? We're going to be running on these servers. What type of servers are you going to be running on? You want this type of uptime performance. What does that mean? So what you're saying is that your prompting becomes critically important for the overall success of not getting hacked, but you're going to get hacked. There's a great chance that you get hacked. Anybody get hacked,
right? But it's if you did what I did, and I don't know if that Chevy dealer did that, but if they said, go on my website and create an offer so I can sell some cars really fast.
Yep.
And left out all the make sure there's a high level of security, don't allow this, make sure the price is at this level, all this stuff, you're going to get hackers that come in there and they're going to go, hey, look at this. I just got in.
So tell me this much, and this might be something outside of our scope, but when I'm scanning different sites, can you think they can tell that it's been AI generated based on the generic nature, based on the structure, maybe the syntax that's being used by AI?
I'll tell you what the little bit I did learn about. So I was using a product called Cursor.
Mm-hmm.
I showed that product. That's what I was using. It's an integrated development environment with AI. Okay, I read about the hackers that learned Cursor to understand what it does when it's building you a website so they could hack it. Because it's going to build everybody the website the same way.
Yeah.
And so if you learn the development environment, you'll know where the problems are. Now that's not to say I saw a trainer that taught me about vibe coding that said you shouldn't just use the environment that comes in your IDE, that you should also have another AI running on the side, and then you should have a third AI checking your work.
Okay, that's interesting. But going back to what you said, one of the things we talked about with this was prototyping, rapid prototypes, rapid tests. So there is some serious power in vibing for that, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
Because in a lot of cases, a picture's worth 1,000 words. How many words is a working set of software that you can actually see, touch, play? It might not be in the production environment. It'll be in the development environment, but you can see this speeding up a lot of different things, especially maybe if your users can give it to you, like instead of doing requirements, you're doing vibe code. Isn't it interesting? You think couldn't vibe coding replace requirements?
It wouldn't replace. It needs requirements.
Yeah, but but you would be able to see. I would create the requirement. So I'm the vibe coder. I know. Say I'm a VP of sales who's very technical. I wanted a couple new reports done. I vibe coded those reports. In the vibe code is my requirements. It just has to be coded better.
It has to be coded. But I will say something. When I've worked on many projects that were development projects, we use something called the BRD, Business Requirements Document, because we're handing that to programmers who are going to code the thing that we want. Or if you're
but remember, the BRD is all words, maybe some flow documents.
Yeah. But the BRD now with vibe coding, I'm going to make it so you guys are all going to say, "Oh, I thought it was going to be super easy." There's a concept of a PRD. Because you have a BRD that generates your idea of what you want, but you need a programming requirements document to make sure the vibe code adheres to certain standards that will make you not susceptible to all kinds of things out there. And go Dave. I was gonna
keep going.
Okay, I'm gonna hit one other little point here, and this is I don't want to scare everybody away, but in fact. A friend, an associate of mine, just got in an email a week ago an Evite and clicked on the Evite from someone we were working with, and now his computer is locked.
So they're vibe coded a
no. I'm just saying that was an Evite in an email. It was a cyber hack that got.
It was a phishing. Somebody probably used vibe coding to phish him.
I don't know if they use vibe coding, but that's a thing. Okay, so you could say don't fall prey to phishing attacks.
Yep.
You know the code I showed you?
Yeah.
What if the system was nefariously hacked, and in that code? Remember, I didn't read the code.
Nope. I didn't look at it at all. You didn't look at a single thing.
I didn't look at it at all.
And when I do my vibe coding, I don't look at the script. It's gibberish.
So what if somebody hacked that and put some lines of code in it that said, while you're doing this, jump into the computer and see if there's any financial files in there or any password files?
Yep.
Your website would run perfectly, but it would be having all kinds of hacks going on in it, and that's it. It's probably not as likely, but it's a scary environment that can occur at some point if somebody hacked like Cursor and Cursor didn't know. But it wouldn't even be Cursor. It would be they'd have to hack one of the AIs that fed Cursor. It would be a supply chain kind of hack, but it would be very possible. And like you said, you didn't even read it. I didn't read my code.
Nobody. I don't read. I don't think anybody. I think there's very few vibers out there that are actually reading the code unless they are vibing as programmers, because then they are going to look at. They're going to change and make adjustments. For me, it was I wanted to quickly get a landing page up. I'll put the text on there. I'll generate the code, and then let the marketing folks adjust it faster. And I was looking for speed. I wanted speed.
Yep.
Speed over anything else. And you know what? It does speed things up.
And I'll give you just again, another tidbit for everyone out there, and then you could plug our class. One thing, it's not as good to step in and create a code for a whole website and a whole system. It can do it, no problem.
Yeah.
But we didn't even talk about editing. Editing in AI is a pain, because editing, what it tends to do naturally is when you say edit one thing, it edits everything. Now,
let's talk about that. George, say it again, because people got to understand it. Say it again.
AI tends to go edit things you didn't want edited whenever you ask it to fix something.
Any little thing, it's going to mess with everything else around it. You better be prepared for that. So you can change the whole script by editing one thing.
So you need to do things. And again, this is stuff that you'll have when you learn about. So in other words, I'll throw one thing out there. You just saw vibe coding. You could say, I don't need George. I don't need David. They just showed me I'm prompting. I know prompting. See you guys. Bye.
Peace out.
If you think you're going to vibe code like that and do no other education, I would say there's a high likelihood you're going to have all kinds of issues, because what you got to do,
performance issues, speed issues, reliability issues, functionality, security issues. But what's going to really performance? I mean, look at any web application. Performance is the difference between success and failure.
Yeah.
If you don't script it appropriately, it's heavy. It doesn't process properly. It doesn't connect. It doesn't compile well for whatever reason. Maybe there's some goofinesses with your domain provider or your you know what I'm talking about. I'm babbling here, but you don't know this.
Yep. So so the bottom line is there are best practices to vibe coding. So what it's basically doing, you're getting your coding and you're still keeping a highly dynamic programming architecture and best practices. When you put those two together, you get all the speed of the vibe coding, and you still can have some of the safety that you had. I mean, it's not going to be 100%.
So great comment. So backing up and editing is important. Yes, I get what we're trying to tell you. If you've got a production-based environment that is producing revenue for you on a consistent basis, and you want to add to that environment, yes, you can vibe, but you better have an understanding of the testing before you launch, the regression issues that might happen when you put this code into there, and knowing what other impacts it would have. So the thing here is, there's what George said at the very beginning, there's more to programming than just scripting. Coding is just one small element of delivering functional software. And what we're concerned about is speed can be powerful here, but if you're not, especially in highly productive environments, if you're not following guidelines and processes, you are going to open yourself up to problems that are going to be all over the place, and you're never going to know what's going on. It's one thing, like George, it's one thing to have like multiple AWS environments up. Like AWS started like Bamboo. Different departments set it up, and okay, you're storing some stuff. But when you're scripting like Bamboo, I don't know, that just scares the bejeebies out of me.
Yep. So you end up, here, maybe one of the bottom line takeaways as we kind of come to a close here is, you can take the business people now and the business minds and the dreamers, and you can code instantly. And I tell you one thing, if you're going to code in your office to kind of like let your mind see and think out loud, I think that's great with vibe coding. If you're going to go,
that's me, by the way.
If you're going to go to production world, it's a dirty world out there for a lot of things. It's not just security, it's performance, it's all kinds of things. And there's rules and biases and all this.
Oh, there's security issues. There's regulatory issues got to be protected.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many.
So either you need to learn that, and you can learn it. You can use AI to learn it. But I'm just saying, your prompt can't be build me a website and that's it with a button on it. Yeah. It's going to have a lot of things. There's going to be a security section, a performance section, a user experience section. All of those things have to be part of that script. And then I would not do it in one monolithic block. That would be certain failure.
Yeah,
You
and here's
need
the
to
thing:
break it into
MSA, like
pieces.
if you're working with large corporations, maybe you're a small company, you want to vibe because you know we want to get some speed to market, but your customer base is Fortune 500. You win $100,000 deal, they send you over an MSA. That MSA is going to have stuff about vibe coding. It's going to have stuff about security, the secure
Yep.
access into your systems that you're not going to be able to meet, and then you're not going to be able to perform the service. I can tell you this is firsthand experience. I work with some very big
Oh,
companies,
yeah,
and
yeah.
man, the documentation I have to deal with right now with regard to my environments is incredible.
Oh, yeah. And there is, I'm going to double check it because I want to make sure that this is yeah. You want to know a scary one? It is the coolest thing around for all you guys to take away a vibe coding environment, but it would scare the heck out of me to the extent I would buy a new iPhone to use it. There is an AI that lets you do iPhone to Android applications in their environment, in the Swift Android application environment, and create apps that go to the App Store that run on your
Imagine if you
iPhone.
bought an app that was vibe coded by some bonehead.
Not even
my
that.
God.
While you're making it, depending on how it's built and where you got your vibe environment to build Swift, while you're playing with it, it's probably grabbing everything off your iPhone and sending it somewhere.
Absolutely. All your stored credit cards and your security codes, your CVCs or whatever. All right, so here's the skinny. We have a 1 hour webinar coming up with George on August 27th. You can see that below. We do have a 2-day vibe coding class now that I think has been going and scrolling the whole bit. As Laura said, this is recorded and will live on my LinkedIn forever, so you can go back and take a look at it. But we are really going to be out there supporting and pushing folks and letting them understand the pros and the cons. And if they want to jump in, they better know what they're jumping into. We want to support that effort. I love the prototyping aspect of this. I think there's so many cool things that can happen with speed now. But man, if you're going to production, you might want to rethink that. Anything else to say, George?
No, just remember, coding is not programming. But
yes,
so you got to do both.
It's like I can write, but I can write, but can I write Hemingway? I can write, but can I write Grisham?
Yeah. There you go.
I can't even write Dr. Well, Dr. Seuss is a pretty good writer. But anyways, I can't even write C Spot Run. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll have more sessions on this.
Okay. All right. Look forward to